Srivasadi. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are continuing to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 11. Text 14, we are in the purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I'll just quickly read the translation. Manu actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime, becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. So here Svāyambhuva Manu is telling to Dhruva Maharaj that just by satisfying the Supreme Lord, one can get liberated from this world of birth and death, liberated from gross and subtle material creations, the gross body and the subtle body. You see, when we die, we give up the gross body, but the subtle body remains with us, the mind, intelligence, and false ego. And that subtle body is also material. So here, liberation means we are giving up not only the gross body, but also the subtle body. So it's the subtle body which has been with us since time immemorial, the mind, false ego, and the intelligence. And that's what we need to give up. So reading on, the word samprasane, which is used in this verse, means being satisfied.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
That Hare Krishna, I have a question.
Yes. Yes, please. Hare Krishna. You can't hear you, Neha.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just have a question. You mentioned that the subtle body is there because of the mind is false ego and that is there. So is it that because of that it is material? Because the
Yes,
mind is also attached to it, right? That is
the
the
mind is
reason.
the mind is material, false ego is material, and intelligence
And
is material.
intelligence. So when that is also given, then it becomes liberated and spiritual, right?
Yes, because we are
The
the
three
soul.
also has to be. Okay.
So look at it like that, the soul is there. And then we have a covering. We are covered with this false ego, mind, and intelligence. And then on top of that, there is another covering, which is this gross body, which we can see. So it's something like, we can give the example, our body is there, then we wear our underclothes, and then we wear our outer clothes. Like that.
Okay, thank you.
So a person should act in such a way that the Lord is satisfied by the activity. It is not that he himself is to be satisfied. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, whatever you do it for me. That is karma yoga. This is what Svāyambhuva Manu is also telling to Dhruva Maharaj. Act in such a way that Krishna is satisfied. Of course, when the Lord is satisfied, the devotee automatically becomes satisfied. This is the secret of process of bhakti yoga. So we say, Arey, why shall I work then if I cannot enjoy the result of my work, then why should I work? Many of us say that. What? Why I'm not, why should I do so much endeavor if I just have to satisfy Krishna and I cannot enjoy the result? But what we have to understand is when we actually work for the pleasure of Krishna, the pleasure which Krishna is feeling, he shares it with us. And that's when we feel true pleasure, real bliss. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, that devotional service is joyfully performed. Susukham kartam avyayam. Susukham. It's blissful. We are thinking if we work for ourselves, that's when we will be happy. Without realizing that actual true happiness is when we work for Krishna. Because Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure. He is the origin from where pleasure comes. So outside of Bhakti Yoga, everyone is trying to satisfy himself. No one is trying to satisfy the Lord. It's only in the process of bhakti that the devotee is trying to satisfy Krishna. Karmis grossly try to satisfy their senses. But even those who are elevated at the platform of knowledge also try to satisfy themselves in a subtle form. So we are working, we work hard, and we say, I'm gonna enjoy the result by sense gratification. I'm gonna do this, and then my senses will be happy. I'll cook a big feast and my tongue will be happy. And then jnanis try to satisfy themselves by subtle activities or mental speculation and thinking themselves to be God. Or we may think, okay, right now I'm not God, but I'm going to get the knowledge by which I'm going to become God. So that is also sense gratification in a subtle way, because the desire is there to become God. So that is subtle. So yogis also try to satisfy themselves by thinking that they can achieve different mystic perfections. So the Ashtanga yogis, by doing the yoga, can get 8 mystic perfections, the Ashta Siddhis. So the yogis are also trying to get, because imagine you can go to you go anywhere, or you can become lighter than air, can float in the air, or you can create a planet. So all these siddhis, we like to feel powerful. So this is also sense gratification. But only devotees try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The devotee's process of self-realization is completely different from the processes of the karmis, jnanis, and yogis. So Krishna is also saying in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati, you become, by devotional service, you will be able to understand me. And Krishna is saying uh, in chapter 9, engage your mind always in thinking of me, worship me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me. Krishna is saying that. And why is he saying that? Not that, we like people to worship us. Oh, I'm so great. Because because of our ego, we feel that's a feel good. But Krishna is not like that. Krishna is completely renounced. He's saying to satisfy him so that we can get out of this material world. So that is our original position, the pure spirit soul. We have a loving relationship with Krishna. So everyone else is trying to satisfy himself, whereas the devotee tries only to satisfy the Lord. The devotional process is completely different from the others. By working to please the Lord, by engaging his senses, in the Lord's loving service, the devotee is immediately situated on the transcendental platform and he enjoys unlimited blissful life. So it's for our benefit that Krishna is saying, work in a way that you can satisfy me, so that we can immediately get liberated, transcendental platform, and have this unlimited pleasure, unlimited happiness. So in devotional service, it begins by hearing and chanting. Hearing and chanting. This is how we can satisfy Krishna. Of course, there's the 9 processes of bhakti, which begins with hearing and chanting, and then it goes on remembering and so on and so forth. And even if we can do one of them properly, it can give us perfection. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
Yesterday I read one story, so I want to share about that. Like, Draupadi and Abhimanyu's wife Putra, like they were doing conversation to each other about Draupadi was saying to her कि कभी भी बहुत बड़ा अगर तुमको कोई प्रॉब्लम होता है, if you have something like you are thinking like nobody is going to solve it like that, so you cannot share it with your family or your friend or your nearby or your neighbor. Like you cannot you have to call Krishna only. He is the only one who can help you. तो उत्तरा ने फिर पूछा कि आप ऐसा क्यों बोल रहे हो? We have such a big family, loving family, and we everyone have trust each other. तो उसने उस समय वही बोला द्रौपदी ने कि जब वो गैम्बलिंग हो रहा था, एंड दैट टाइम आई वाज हेल्पलेस, और मेरे पांचों पति, इवन द भीष्म पितामह द्रोणाचार्य और फादर इन लॉ धृतराष्ट्र, nobody was there to help me, and I was literally going to be naked that time. मतलब वो सिचुएशन था कि धृतराष्ट्र, सॉरी, युधिष्ठिर जो सिर्फ सच बोलते, अर्जुन इतने बड़े भक्त थे भगवान के, बट उस समय मेटेरियलिस्टिकली इतना ज्यादा वो लोग, मतलब जीत का जो नशा था उनके ऊपर इतना ज्यादा हावी हो गया था कि वो सब कुछ भूल गए थे उस समय कि क्या हो रहा है, एंड वो अपनी वाइफ को दांव पे लगाए उस जुए में। तो द्रौपदी ने सिर्फ हाथ जोड़ के कृष्णा को पुकारा, तो उसने फिर उसका सॉल्यूशन, वो तो सब कोई जानता ही है कि द क्लॉथ वाज सो बिग कि दुशासन वो टायर्ड हो गया खींचते खींचते। फिर उत्तरा को उन्होंने बताया कि नॉट ओनली दिस युग, एवरी युग, एवरी युग, अगर कोई भी पर्सन मन से अगर कृष्णा को याद करता है और कितने भी बड़े मुसीबत में हो, तो अगर सॉल्यूशन भगवान नहीं निकालेंगे तो आपको कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा जरूर करके देंगे, यू विल बी फील बेटर, एंड आपको एक हिम्मत आएगा, आपको एक मतलब विश्वास आएगा कि नहीं, कोई है मेरे साथ जो मेरी मदद कर रहा है। तो इट वॉज वेरी बिग, बट मैं थोड़ा ब्रीफ करके बता रही हूँ इसको। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कल, मुझे अच्छा लगा कि नहीं, सच में कुछ तो है, समथिंग इज वेरी पावरफुल हु इज रियली टेकिंग केयर ऑफ ऑल ऑफ अस, इवन व्हेन वी आर इन like happy mood or in sorrow mood, or we have very big trouble, Krishna is there to help us, really.
Jai, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. Beautiful. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bhute Panchabir Arabdher
Bhute Panchabhi Arabdhe
Yoshit Purusha Evahi
Yukshit Purusha Evahi
Tayor Vyavayat Sambhutir
Tayor Vyavayat Sambhuti
Yoshit Purusha Yor Iha.
Yoshit Purusha Yo Iha.
The creation of the material world begins with the 5 elements, and thus everything, including the body of a man or a woman, is created of these elements. By the sexual life of man and woman, the number of men and women in this material world is further increased. So the 5 elements, does anyone remember? What are the 5 elements? Panchabhut.
Earth,
Water, fire,
air,
air,
water, fire, ether.
Ether.
Yeah, thank you. When Svāyambhuva Manu saw that Dhruva Maharaj understood the philosophy of Vaishnavism and yet was still dissatisfied because of his brother's death, he gave him an explanation how this material body is created by the 5 elements of material nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also confirmed, Prakrite Kriyamanani. Everything is created, maintained, and annihilated by the material modes of nature. So everything, the modes of material nature, this body that we are getting is material. It's under the control of modes of nature. But under whose direction it's happening? Everything is happening under the direction of Krishna, under the direction of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Maya Dyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Hetu Nanina Kaunteya. Krishna says that Maya Dyakshena Prakriti, this mind, this Prakriti is mine and she's working under my direction. It's not that there is no creator behind it. The creator is Krishna. In the 9th chapter, Krishna says, under my superintendence, material nature is acting. Mayadhyakshena. Under my superintendence. Svāyambhuva Manu wanted to impress on Dhruva Maharaj that the death of the material body of his brother was not actually the Yaksha's fault. It was an act of the material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has immense varieties of potencies, and they act in different gross and subtle ways. So here Prabhupada is explaining to us that Svāyambhuva Manu is telling, okay, the Yaksha was just an instrument. Yeah, he was an instrument in the hands of material nature, in the hands of the modes of nature. That's how we are, we are instruments now in the hands of modes of nature. We should try to become instrument of Krishna. As Krishna is telling to Arjun, become my instrument. What is that? What is the word he uses? I can't remember. I forget now. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, become my instrument. Right now, we are instruments in the hands of material modes. So it is by such powerful potencies that the universe is created. Although grossly it appears to be no more than the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Similarly, the bodies of all species of living entities, whether human beings, demigods, animals, or birds, are also created by the same 5 elements. And by sexual union, they expand into more and more living entities. Now, we may say, "Oh, but my body looks different than a bird's body. And a bird's body is different than a tree's body. And a tree's body is different than a fish body." But if we actually analyze what is this body made of, it's made up of these 5 elements, nothing else. So that is the way of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. One should not be disturbed by the waves of material nature in this process. Dhruva Maharaj was indirectly advised not to be afflicted by the death of his brother, because our relationship with the body is completely material. The real self, spirit, soul is never annihilated or killed by anyone. So he's trying, Svāyambhuva Manu is trying to explain to Dhruva Maharaj that your brother Uttam, his soul can never be dead. His soul is still there. What dies is the body. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that of the eternal, that the body is material. So there is no endurance. No matter how much we try to preserve it, it's going to get destroyed one day or the other, no matter how long we try to preserve it. And of the soul, there's no death. Never can it be killed at any time. Are there any questions or comments? No, then.
No.
Evam pravartate sarga
Evam pravartate sarga
sthiti samyama evacha
sthiti samyama eva cha
gunavyatikarat rajan
gunavyatikarat rajan
mayaya paramatmanaha.
mayaya paramatmanah.
Manu continued, my dear King Dhruva, it is simply by the illusory material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by the interaction of the 3 modes of material nature that creation, maintenance, and annihilation take place. First, creation takes place with the ingredients of the 5 elements of material nature that we just heard in the previous verse, that there's 5 elements are there. Creation is happening. Then, by the interaction of the modes of material nature, maintenance also takes place. So, interaction of the modes of material nature. Does anyone know what are the modes of material nature?
Goodness, Passion and ignorance.
That's right. So when a child is born, the parents immediately see to its maintenance. This tendency for maintenance of offspring is present not only in human society, but in animal society as well. So this is there already. The modes are making us act in such a way. The modes are making the parents act in a way that they will protect the child. Even tigers care for their cubs, although their propensity is to eat other animals. By the interaction of the material modes of nature, creation, maintenance, and also annihilation take place inevitably. But at the same time, we should know that all is conducted under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Maya, this illusory energy of Maya, she's controlling us by these three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance, like puppets. I don't know if you all have seen the photo in the Bhagavad Gita. There is a picture that there are these three, and they are making the puppets dance. So this is how the material nature is controlling us. Now, but whose order is she listening to? To Krishna's order. She is Krishna's energy. It is all Krishna's arrangement. Everything is going on under that process. Creation is the action of the Rajogun, the mode of passion. Maintenance is the action of Sattvagun, the mode of goodness. And annihilation is the action of Tamogun, the mode of ignorance. We can see that those who are situated in the mode of goodness live longer than those who are situated in the Tamogun or Rajogun. In other words, if one is elevated to the mode of goodness, he is elevated to a higher planetary system where the duration of life is very great. So as we go in the hierarchy of the modes, the life gets longer. The life becomes longer. So if in the mode of goodness, we can go to the higher planets and live a long time. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha. Great rishis, sages, and sannyasis who maintain themselves in sattvagun, or the mode of material goodness, are elevated to a higher planetary system. So for sure there is benefit to come to the mode of goodness, because can go to the higher planet, have better facilities, have better life. Now, those who are transcendental even to the material modes of nature are situated in the mode of pure goodness. They attain eternal life in the spiritual world. So once one can go above, even above the mode of goodness, that is Shuddha Sattva, to the mode of pure goodness, which is not under the control of this material nature. That is a liberated platform. Pure goodness is liberated platform and can enter into Vaikuntha. Because in Vaikuntha, there is only pure goodness. There is no that sometimes goodness, sometimes passion, sometimes ignorance. No, only the transcendental mode is there. And then the soul can go and live in the spiritual world, eternal life in the spiritual world. So how can we come to the transcendental platform?
By coming to the Vishuddha Sattva, by hearing and chanting and engaging ourselves in Krishna consciousness.
Hearing and chanting in Krishna consciousness. That's right. Thank you. So we'll stop here for today.
And was that Sthit Pragya, what you were talking about? Sthit Pragya. The
Sthit
Arjuna. No, right? No.
What?
You said that Krishna wanted Arjuna to be, is it that Sthit
Instrument?
No, instrument. Okay.
Yeah.
Not Sthit
What is that?
Pragya.
Not Sthita Pragya.
No, Sthit Pragya. No, it's not Sthit Pragya.
I'm just forgetting the word, But what's that? Nimitta matra. Nimitta matra bhavya satya, he says. Become an instrument in the hands. Krishna is saying, become an instrument in my hand. We are all instruments in the hands of material nature. We should plead to Krishna, my dear Krishna, kindly make me an instrument in your hand.
Yeah. So that's what the prayer you did in the morning, right? The first prayer, that just make me the instrument of your love,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai,
Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna.